Hi, everybody. This is Laura Cook with Way Clinic, and we're just doing a live medicine circle, live talk. And today I've got Tom Smith coming in. Hopefully, he's having a little bit of technical issues, which is okay. We're just going to give him a bit of time, and yeah, just checking in and seeing what everybody's got to say. How is everyone today? We've got some viewers joining in, and we're welcoming questions. We're welcoming if anybody has anything they need to address, if they want to talk. Yeah, we're just kind of working. More of the topic is about allergies, immune system, but that's also related to trauma and childhood trauma, ancestral trauma. Working in the heart field. When we were working with the immune system and talking about things that made us not feel worthy or not feel loved or not feel safe, how our hearts need to feel safe in order to be anchored and protected. So yeah, really just exploring the heart and exploring the immune system. And so working within the immuno realm, when we think of safety and trauma, what's that heart doing? How does that heart feel when we have ongoing threat or feeling ongoingly stressed, right? As we're growing up in an environment where our parents are very stressed and they can't be there for us, then yeah, our heart doesn't feel very safe. So how that's really connected to the immune system is the heart energy is about acceptance and courage, and we develop these ideas around safety and courage and protection from how we're cared for as a child usually, and our parents have it from how they're cared for as a child. And the immune system is governed by the thymus. Generally, it's right at the top of the heart. So the thymus is like the heart protector. So we're going to get in there. Hi, Teresa. We've got Teresa Jack checking in. I've got Tom, and I do have a client that is on live with us. And so we are welcoming people to kind of check in if they want to go live with us in one of our medicine circles. Next week, we'll open it up. We'll have more guests on here. So hi, Lorraine. I think Lorraine's jumping in for next week. We're bringing Tom in. Hey, Tom.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, and there's no feedback.
Cool.
And you're not upside down or sideways.
Okay.
Hi, Christina. Can you see the people commenting?
Me? Nope, I can't see anything.
Okay, so you might be able to join in on Facebook if you want to see people commenting. Other than that, I'll just tell you what they're saying. I can see it, everything they're saying. So we've got a good 12 viewers. So hi, everybody. How is everybody doing? We've got Lorraine, Teresa, Jack. Do you know Teresa Jack, Tom?
No, I don't.
You don't? And Lorraine's on there.
Yep. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, Ramona. We've got some tall tan energy coming in. And Crystal. Hi, Crystal. Crystal Jack from Getting Max. So we got Ramona Kwok. We've got Christina from up in Smithers. We've got Lorraine. Lorraine, you're down in Vancouver, right? Working down there. Hi, Amanda. Checking in. And Sheena. We've got Sheena from Whitset. Oh, and then so Crystal has her girls listening. Sheena says she misses us. So this is good. We get to check in with a lot of our community members, hey? So how has it been going for you, Tom? What are we going to talk about today?
Well, the isolation is pretty stressful for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people that have passed away since this virus, and our First Nations culture. There's lots around our culture when somebody passes away, and so that's been put on hold. There's people in the hospitals that we can't visit. My cousin, as we speak, is having open heart surgery, and her family can't even go in and see her, and they flew her from Prince Rupert.
Mm.
So there's a lot of stuff going on. It's like, what do we do with this stuff? All the stuff that's going on, because we can't just sit with it and not do anything about it.
Yeah.
We just sit and do nothing about it. Then it starts to control us. One of the things that in this line of work that Laura and I've been doing for a few years now is it's evolving on this work that we're doing, and the way that I look at this energy now that's stuck in our body, or it has a story to it. It has a story, and the person that knows about the story, most of it is us. We know if we can check into the body and find out what it is. Like, I'll give you an example about my daughter. It's going on 3 years now that my daughter had a brain tumor removed, and I held that in my chest. And one day I felt this really heavy energy in my chest. And so I started unpacking it. I started asking it questions. I said, what is this about? Is this about my parents? I got to know. Is this about my wife? No. Is this about my kids? And I could feel a shift of energy. He said, oh, it's about my kids. Then I went to my daughter, Patty, right away. I said, is this about Patty? And I could feel the energy starting to move. And so I just acknowledged it. I acknowledged that energy. And I also had to rewrite that story that my daughter's going to be okay. And as soon as I started acknowledging it and shifting it and doing an affirmation, that energy went. So this is about acknowledging or trying to track or unpack whatever the emotion is that we carry in our body, because that energy in our body is always trying to get our attention. It's going to get our attention one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something that we definitely have seen a lot of in our work, is that people can connect in and see what that looks like inside of them. I have a guest. I have Jennifer on, and I've done some work with her quite a bit. She's from up in the very north, and she was just gonna. We've been working mostly with allergies with her, as well, some belief systems, and uncovering earlier trauma and belief systems that are kind of rooted there. But we're going to just bring her in to say hi to her and see if anybody else has any other requests of topics, and we can talk more about what we do too. There's Jen. Hi, Jennifer. Can you hear me?
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, I can. It's a little bit crackly with my connection, so I just might take a minute to respond.
Hi, Jennifer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too, Tom.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And where are you at?
I'm in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what have you been working on with Laura?
I've been working on a persistent dust allergy that just seems to want to hang on. And I know it's something around safety and around cleanliness, because I have almost OCD about cleanliness. And I don't know if that's because I'm afraid of dust because it triggers such a response in my lungs, or if it's just, kind of like what's a chicken and egg situation, right? If I'm making that fear in my body of it, or if the fear is happening because
the way
it's
when I start looking at these energies, it's like this fear can take a form of something. It can take a form of something, and I believe that this energy eventually starts communicating to us, starts talking to us. I lost you there. Can you still hear me? There you are.
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you think about this fear, so you said that it keeps kind of hanging around. So this work
Mm-hmm.
that Laura and I do, we listen to what your words are. So when you talk about this thing that's kind of hanging around, because this thing started to manifest, it started to manifest in a certain time or a period of your life where this fear started to manifest. So I'm curious about when you said it's hanging around. So where is it hanging around on, like within the body? It could
In
be
the
anywhere. It could
lungs.
be in the lungs. Okay, so we're going to get
Mm-hmm.
curious about it. So there's your left lung and there's your right lung. So does it feel like there's something hanging around in the left lung or the right lung or both lungs?
Um, Today the right lung, but it can be either lung.
Okay. So I'm not too sure if anybody else can hear us as we're talking. Um, but if there's anybody else that has issues with the lungs, this will also help them too, because this will clear. And even if it doesn't matter what the emotion is, because if it's somebody else resonates with this kind of an energy, it'll clear from them too. So you mentioned there's something in the right lung, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you just let your imagination go and there's something in your right lung, what is it that you can see? Is it something solid, something soft, round, hard?
It's like prickles.
So it's like prickles. Okay. So when you look at it a little bit closer, it's like it's something prickly. What can you see? What
Mm-hmm.
what is that taking a form of, this prickly?
Like a thorn.
Yep. So there's a thorn. So we'll get curious about this thorn in your right lung. Like, does that thorn go from the outside of the lung into the lung, or is it already inside the lung?
It's inside the lung.
Okay. So tell me about where is it at in the lung? Is it like in the middle of it? Is it down the bottom? Does it puncture? Does it make a hole
No,
in
it's
your?
like it's the whole lung.
Okay. So what is that emotion that's coming from this thorn? Is there has there so when you
What is the
so sorry when you think about this thorn, what does that thorn represents? Because sometimes people will say it's like a thorn in my side.
It's like love hurts.
Love hurts. There you go. A lot of times when I'm working with the lungs, sometimes it's got a strong connection to grief.
Mm-hmm.
And grief doesn't have to mean that somebody has passed away, because that grief could be like a loss of a childhood, loss of, could be any kind of a loss. So sorry, what was the emotion with that thorn? A
Mm-hmm.
loss, you said?
It's like yeah, grief, but and fear.
Yeah, so grief and fear. So when you connect with this thorn, when did this thorn first start to appear? When did it appear? When did it start to manifest? At what age?
I think probably 15,
Okay.
14,
Yeah,
15.
so around 14 or 15. So when you look at that thorn, that usually comes from somewhere or something happening. When you look at that thorn, do you like how much of that do you think belongs to you?
Um, not very much of it.
That's right. So now I want you to watch and feel that thorn come out. And I just want you to let that thorn just kind of hang out in front of you somewhere. Could be like a foot away, 2 feet away. Whoa. Sorry,
It's just like a really, it's like a really long, like vine of thorns that's
Yep,
coming out.
that's right. I felt it too. So I can sense these things when they start to move. It was almost like a shock to your nervous system. So when you see this, all these vines of thorns, like what can you make sense of that? Those could be different events
When I,
of your life. It could be
mm, yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
yeah. So now where is that
Still going.
still coming out? Okay, so there's a lot in there.
Okay.
Is it still coming out?
No, now it's just like the vine, but no thorns.
No thorns?
Sorry?
Is there, did you say there was no thorns on it?
No,
Okay.
there's no more thorns.
What happened to the thorns? I'm curious about that.
They're just like a big mess of this vine with thorns on the floor.
Oh, okay. What can you make sense of that? Why the thorns are all on the floor? They all fell off from this vine. Let's look at this vine. What does that vine represent? Is that like your
Sorry, can
time?
you say that again? It's just
What?
a little bit crackly.
Yeah. So when you look at the vine, what can you make sense of the vine? What does that represent for you? Is that like your timeline? Is that
I feel like it's I feel like it's really like gotten to be a brighter color green, so like it's maybe like heart energy.
okay? So it's transforming. So does it feel like it's transforming?
Um, yeah, it feels like it's trying to form like this, almost like a snake coil.
Like the Kundalini?
Sorry.
Oh, she's doing good. You've got good visualization. That's interesting because it's changing from like a vine and becoming coiled up like a snake, and then Tom's bringing in the idea of Kundalini. Have you been learning of Kundalini energy and what that looks like? You know,
I'm
it might
having
be.
such a hard time hearing you guys.
Oh, that's okay. I think that was pretty
It
good.
seems like it works better if there's just one person on the screen at a time.
Okay. Okay,
Like it's
I'll
streaming
come off of
better for
there.
me. Sorry.
Do you know what Kundalini is?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that's what that snake represents? Do
Kundalini
you think
energy.
that's what that represents?
It could be. I have had a lot of like energetic shifts and
Mm-hmm.
kind of spiritual awakenings happening.
Okay. So let's finish.
Trying to clear so much junk out.
Yeah. So let's finish off that where you see all those thorns that all fell off. So I want you to watch those thorns. I want you to watch them go somewhere into the land, go in the universe, could go to the ocean, the mountains, or you can watch if something comes to take it. It could be anything.
I just see like this purple and white light kind of messenger coming to take it.
Okay. And where is it taking it to?
Taking the thorns.
Where is it taking the thorns to?
Mm-hmm. But they're still just like standing there with it.
Okay. What does that mean to you when it's just standing there with it? Because there's so many different ways you can look at this. Because if you're standing with it, you're standing with it outside your body. It's no longer inside your body. It's almost like you're acknowledging it.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than having those thorns in your lungs, you're actually standing with it outside the body.
Yeah, it's like I just needed to witness it.
That's right. You just needed to witness it.
And then it can go.
Yeah. So tell me what you notice when you take a nice deep breath.
And it feels lighter.
Yeah. So I'm just going to check in really quick with your lungs. So when I work with the body, it's like everything's supposed to communicate. With your left and your right lung, it feels like they're not communicating properly.
Mm.
So it's like really heaviness on one side. I'm just going to clear that and get the lungs to communicate better. There you go.
Yeah, I can definitely feel that balancing.
Yeah. So there's something going on right in the back of your head too. Right in the base of it, right near the top of the skull. You ever any injuries to the head? Any car accidents? Any falls?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have had a few concussions.
Okay, because I can feel something right back here. So I'm just going to clear that energy. I'm just going to straighten everything out, let it go.
Making my right hand shake.
Yeah. You're just going to hold it. So what I'm doing right now with my hands, all I'm doing is holding your head, working on the right side. Just going to calm that energy down. Feels like something with your whole right side. I'm just going to clear it. There you go. Just let it go. Okay. So hopefully that helps, because of that head injury
Yeah.
too. That head injury too will also affect the front part. Because when I look at a head injury, it's like, say this is like I'm trying to get this here. Like this is your head with no injury, because everything I work with a spirit. So when you think about a head injury, your spirit of everything moves within your brain. So everything goes like this, and it goes like that. So all Laura and I are doing is bringing things back, the spirit of everything back to where it should be. Because when you think about that energy, when you get hit like that, there's an energy that gets stuck inside the body somewhere.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so if it's like if I get hit right here, if I get hit really hard, it's like this energy will go and get stuck somewhere inside there.
Okay. Yeah, it was mostly in the back of my head.
Yep.
Tom is magic.
Well, I'm just listening to your body. Your body showed me what's going on. So, all right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so, so much.
Awesome.
Hey,
That was good. Yeah, Tom is magic.
That's one moose.
One moose. I don't know if she could hear you because
she can't hear me. I was teasing you. I was saying that's going to cost you one moose.
Oh, one moose. Okay, I think we have more caribou up here.
I was just teasing. I'm glad I was able to work with you.
I'll put it in the mail. I'll see about stamps.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
take good care.
All right.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
that was good. Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. We'll have to. I worked with her a bit already, so it was good for you to check in on her and see what you saw. Christina says she had goosebumps. We've got Lori listening, Ramona, Margaret. We've got lots of people on here. If anybody has anything they wanted to ask us about, we've got 4 people booked for next week. That sounds like a good opportunity to share some information and talk about things. Do you see it? Do you see, Tom, when I put the people's words on the screen in front of you? Do you see that?
I see Christine, or now I see Ramona saying Laura would like to be a guest next week.
Yeah, we've got Ramona booked on there, and Lori's going to come in. So that'll be interesting to have more people chiming in. Yeah, we're working with the visualization and the IFOT, because that's more what you're using with that technique, hey?
Yeah.
For Jennifer. And yeah, what are the other questions that you normally get from people? Right? Like, how do we do this? Where did we start? Or
yeah, I started probably about 9 years ago, 10 years ago, when I got hurt, and I found a place, a Semco Healing Center. They had hands-on healing, and they asked me if I wanted to try it, and the lady worked on me, and yeah, that's where I first experienced energy. It didn't leave my body; it actually shot out of my body, shot out the top of my head, and I just remember saying, "Whoa, what the heck was that?" And I just remember saying, "I want to do this." And as soon as I said that, I've been doing it ever since.
yeah, Lorraine is saying she's got an allergy to dust mites and dandelions. So what's good to help? Well, we can definitely do more direct work with you on that for sure. But yeah, what would you suggest? I would do meditations on, really calming the body and the nervous system, and exploring that feeling inside of you more, which I think you're really aware of too. Hey, Lorraine, as you have IFOT training, I'm sure.
Have you always had that, Lorraine, the dust mites and the dandelions?
She's not responding yet. Yes, she says, yeah.
Okay.
So the one thing that we do generally with allergies is it's a body chemistry technique. So you can take a bit of your saliva and place it near energy centers in your body. And it seems kind of weird, but what's happening is in your saliva, we know that it contains everything in your body, right? Your what is Lorraine saying, yes or no? You have to clarify what yes and no. What do you answer yes and no to? So the saliva is got your bacteria, your allergies, viruses. You know, and this is really something everybody should be doing right now. Is this technique? So it's got even your hormones and your toxins in it, right? So we know that there's everything in our saliva because of CSI, right? They tell us we can get that saliva and get all the information and identify a person, but there's also everything inside of us is reflected in that saliva. So when you take it out of your body, if you put it on a tissue or a Q-tip or anywhere, you just take a little dab of it and you put it close to an energy center. So we've got several. There's some strong ones right by our ear. There's right at the heart. There's at the belly, right at the belly button. And these bigger energy centers are going to work with the immune system. So like 80% of the immune system is in your gut. So the saliva, having it there is going to get your nervous or your immune system to pay attention to that, what's in the saliva, a little bit more closely. And then we can work on reintegrating this information into your body. So kind of helping with that inflammation response, the immune response, on an energy medicine level, on meridian level. So, you know, even the viruses that are outside of us, the bacteria, if your body seems to be having a reaction to anything, food, anything, take a bit of the saliva, place it near your belly button. What I suggest is really to do that, and then take some deep breaths, ground into the earth, which feels like just feeling gravity, just feeling where the gravity is holding you down. And I suggest people do this on their own. They take about 6 kind of long, slow, deep breaths in and out, and just pay attention to, you know, you've got this saliva on your belly button. It's kind of weird, but you're asking your body to pay attention to this reaction. And another way I kind of explain how it works or why it works is that, you know, when you're inside of the situation, you don't really know what's going on until you can get a deeper perspective. And when you kind of step outside of a situation, you could see like what's happening further away, what's happened in the past that's affecting the behaviors or the dynamic. So it's kind of the same thing in your body. When you're bringing the physical saliva outside and putting it in another energy perspective, your body is kind of readdressing everything inside. And so this is definitely something that you can do at home, that saliva thing. So Lorraine, try that. You can also work with the actual substances in the same way. So if you're reacting to the dust and like, you know, everything around you, the pollens, the best thing to do is to go out after a rain and pick up some stuff on like a paper towel, stick it in a bag, like out of the, you know, the puddles, because the rain is pulling down all the stuff out of the air. So go get a little bit of the puddle muck, put it in a little bag, place it near your belly button, just like where we did the saliva, and do the same breathing technique. So that can be a really good way to get started on it. And then working with energy healers to kind of get to deeper roots under allergy and immune response. But yeah, licking the belly button thing is pretty good. So Ramona's got a question. I hope that helps, Lorraine. We can talk more too about it next week and do a bit more exploring. So Ramona's saying, one of my sons is having hunger and back pain. Even though he eats, he feels hungry. What can he do or I do to help him heal these symptoms? What emotions usually stored in the abdominal area? So the biggest one is grief in the gut. Gut-wrenching grief is normally down there, but the abdominal area is home to all the organs, right? The major organs, the lung, the liver, gallbladder, kidneys, spleen, small intestine, large intestines, and each one of those has emotional components. But maybe we can just kind of just help with that. Like what is it? Grief? Is it fear? Is kidneys, and liver is anger. Stomach is worrying, and sick with worry. We think of overthinking and how overwhelming that is, and that comes from the stomach. When we think too much, it gives us ulcers, or we have too much worry. So there might be some emotions being kind of compressed and unresolved. So really what we do is we're validating things in the body, right, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing where everything that is happening in the session, we are feedbacking. Oh, so this is what you're seeing. This is what you're feeling. And helping people feel validated. That could be, a really big healing process. It is, because once you validate it, it kind of releases the tension around it in the body. So maybe try that with your son too, about exploring it, right?
I had something happen to me, I don't know how many years back that was. I just had something to eat, and I felt like I was really hungry, and I'm thinking, what the heck's going on here? I just got through eating, I'm full. So I said, what the heck is this? So I started asking this energy. I said, what is this? What am I feeling? I said, oh, this is an emotion. And so all I did was start to unpack it. I said, what is this emotion? So once I figured out what the emotion was, and most times it was connected to my daughter who went through that brain tumor. And so then I would just figure out what that emotion was. I said, oh, this is fear. This is fear. Fear about my daughter dying. So I acknowledged it. And then after I acknowledged it, that what I thought was a hunger pain was not. It was just an emotional pain. And then once I acknowledged it, it was gone. So what's going on with your son is pretty similar to what happened to me. So even though he's hungry, after he ate, it feels like he's hungry, is most likely it's an emotion. And if his back is hurting like that, sometimes it could be his kidneys. And if his kidneys are hurting, that means he's pissed off about something. And so I guess what he can ask himself is, when he feels that, like right after he's eaten and feels like he's hungry, ask him to unpack it. He said, what is this? What is this emotion here? Am I angry? Am I, is there fear? Is it grief? Like, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, Ramona says thank you. And sometimes it is just about talking about it, but it can be really complex too. So I've had people, I was working with someone, and they had, it's a few people I've worked on that have had really bad gut pain without any explanations medically, like working with people all over the place, or medical systems all over, being taken everywhere. And working with them, it came down to a couple of those cases. It came down to childhood separation in the family, and these kids being asked to basically choose which parent they want to live with, who they loved more. And that is what it came up as. And these clients, when we started looking at those questions and that impact on them, and that wasn't theirs to carry, that was their parents' inability to, work with their emotions in a healthy way. It released. And we did some more work around that, but yeah, that gut wrenching choice, that having to choose between two parts of you. Your parents are inside of you, both of them, and you're having to say one isn't as lovable as the other one, and that tears your heart apart and your gut. Here's a question. We've got tracking or releasing. What is she saying here? I have a question, not sure if this is where I'd bring it, sort of to do with medical, but it's the tracking or maybe releasing emotions, creating medical issue bigger than it really is.
Yeah, these emotions, when we don't deal with it, then the body starts to deal with it. And these emotions can hang out anywhere. Like if they hang out in the kidneys, then people get kidney infections all the time, or bladder infections, or issues with the intestines. A really quick story: when I was taking the IFOT course, we were all doing visualizations, and this I started smelling ammonia, and I opened my eyes to see if anybody else smelled it, and nobody did. They all had their eyes closed, and I closed my eyes again, and it felt like somebody put the ammonia right in my nose, and my eyes started to water. I went outside and had some helpers follow me outside, and they couldn't calm me down. They brought out the instructor, and I just told her, I said, I don't know what's going on. I keep smelling ammonia, and she brought out an elder with her. And she looked at the elder and she said, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they use ammonia for cleaning in residential school? And that elder said they use it for everything. And as soon as he said that, ammonia smell cleared. And I could hear a voice saying, you have to tell your mom. And I told mom, and she was really quiet for about a minute. And I finally said, Mom. So when they took her in residential school, they broke something under her nose. And she said it was like a gunshot that went right to her brain. And she didn't know it was ammonia. But my mom never told me about that. But for whatever reason, that came up during when I was doing that IFOT visualization. So I've shared many times how this stuff can be passed from generation to generation. And that validated for me that what happened to my mom was passed on to me, because she never ever shared that with me. So these things can be passed on from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we start unpacking this stuff and realizing a lot of the stuff that we carry is not even ours.
Yeah. Wow. And she says her son had brain surgery at 7 weeks old. And he's been angry about not being able to go out and visit friends, and then losing 2 friends. So that makes sense with the gut wrenching grief, and the anger. Usually under anger is hurt and grief. Anger is the safer emotion for us to show people. So quite often that's what comes up for kids. The other thing I was going to say, Ramona, I know you're tall tan. The Indian Residential Survivors Society, Indian Residential School Survivors Society. I always have to remember there's 3 S's there. They are approved. They are approving sessions, distance sessions, so we can support. Tom and I are both working with IRSSS. You go on their website and fill out a simple form, put our name in there, and they'll try to get that approval happening fairly immediately. So if you're really, if he's really struggling and he's willing to work with us, we can do that. And that's for the intergenerational impacted people too. So not just survivors, but their families, their children.
So with the brain surgery, when you think about the scar, like when they cut you, there's that scar that's there. And that's what I would be doing with my daughter when she'd have her panic attacks, is I would just run my finger, just imagine I would run my finger along that scar and calm it down. And it feels like, so even when he was 7 weeks old, it's still going to affect him, because anything to do with the brain, any brain surgeries, it takes a long time to heal. And that's Laura's specialty too, is about the brain.
Yeah, because I've had so many brain injuries. And that's one of my biggest things I do like to work with is the nervous system. So also it kind of does tie back into allergies because of the nervous system is in a hyperprotective state. And so when you have brain surgery or brain injury or any kind of trauma, it sets off the threat response in the nervous system, like we're in trouble, right? So, 7 weeks old having brain surgery, I would imagine they had him on anesthesia at that age too. So the after effects and long-term effects of anesthesia aren't really recognized in conventional medicine, but we see it in the spirit and the consciousness in the body for sure, and the nervous system holding that surgery. So, yeah, there's definitely techniques that can be brought in to support his ongoing healing and pulling the nervous system out of that threat response is really important.
Because it doesn't have to be surgeries that will affect them. It could be concussions too. Any kind of head injury will affect, because this is really sensitive up there, the brain and the skull. So that's all very sensitive, and so everything will get affected.
Yeah, when that skull gets tight, if it gets jammed in from an injury or the surgery or whatever, it's not usually going to expand and flow as it normally should. Our skull should actually be kind of moving with each breath, which helps with the cerebral spinal fluid and kind of moving through the brain and getting the warmth and the blood flow and the nerves moving throughout the brain. So yeah, it's not very good to be stuck in that state. And then, put that on top of like, okay, I've got a jam in my skull and it's not moving. The bones aren't moving very good, but then if the whole body's stuck in threat response, you've got no flow. So that's how do we get that body out of threat response? We want that body to come and relax and drop and feel anchored. So, how do you feel safe? What's his safe place? What are things you can do to support him being safe and comfortable, right? Making his favorite foods, or just really focusing on that. Like, let's just try to, center and come in together, feel support each other. And that's what helps the nervous system drop. So you think of like a scared animal in the forest, or, if you're trying to help that scared, hurt animal, what do they need? They need you to be very quiet. You need to create a safe space. They have to feel that they're not being threatened at all on any level, and then you can kind of approach it. So a nervous system is kind of like that. You've got to, if it's tight and tense, you've got to feel safe, secure, and help that person navigate that, which is what we do in some of our guided meditation. I do a lot of guided meditation in my work. So it's about teaching my clients, how do you ground that body, right? And we'll probably do some guided meditation next week. We're already almost at an hour. So Tom's probably tired of talking to me and just seeing my face now. But I don't think we have any more comments. But Margaret had, we kind of addressed that, where she was asking about the medical issue creating, So Margaret, if you have ever heard of Dr. Gabor Mate, he does base his theories in some ancient medicines and ancient theories. His theory on addiction is the same as pathology. Any pathology and disease in the body is going to go back to trauma in the childhood or intergenerationally. So emotional impact, trauma, belief systems are in our tissues and creating cycles of behavior as well as physical pathology. And, this is, Gabor Mate is just one doctor who's talking about that. He does state in his interviews and books that it is all pathologies that root into these disorders. And why? Because trauma elevates your nervous system and you're tight. And so you imagine your gut's tight, your heart, your lungs, your muscles around your neck. You have no blood flow. That means like no nourishment moving through all the way out to your feet and your hands. Your gut doesn't have that blood flow and nourishment moving. It's stagnant in the body. So yeah, if we have a threat, as we grow up in a chronic state of stress and we're stuck in it, it's going to create disease eventually just from that tension in the body, right? And then you have the emotional storage. So the areas that are, we're stuffing in there, those areas get affected. And then we look at ancient Chinese medicine, and it guides us through, the specifics in the body parts that are governed by the organs and where those emotions get jammed into. So here we've got Crystal. She said, depletes your serotonin, stress. Yeah, I think that's what you're saying. And it depletes our serotonin. It depletes our magnesium. We have less energy. It's really a hard thing on our body. Hey, Tom.
I've been working with this one client. She went to residential school, and all that ugly stuff that happened during residential school, and the doctors couldn't figure out how come she's got diarrhea and it won't stop. So doing all kinds of tests on her, and we probably done like 3-4 sessions, and all that has stopped. And that's just all from that trapped emotion within the body. So one thing that she told me, she said she was afraid to talk to me, but she spoke to somebody and told her that things are already inside your body, the energy's already there. And I said, yeah, that's right. I said, all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to work with you to release it, to let it go. When I first went to the AA program, all these old timers would tell me to turn it over, let it go, turn it over to God, and I get frustrated, and because they're telling me how to turn it over and let it go, and I don't know how to do that. And so these techniques that I've learned over the years is about finding out where you hold that energy and get a form, just like that lady we were working on. She could see that vine and that, and so she gave it a form. And so that's actually taking that energy out of the body and letting it go. And so what she's letting go are all those emotions. And that's the best way I can explain it, is letting go of those emotions so that it doesn't control you so much. It has less and less control over you.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of pay attention into the body. So, when it comes down to it, some of the best information we can give you is to practice insight in meditation, being more aware. And with sessions, I'm finding that people really start to do that. They really start to kind of go, oh yeah, Laura, I think I've managed, pretty good over the last few weeks. But this is the next kind of stuff we need to work with. But that's the biggest part, is seeing those energies, connecting into them. And some people don't see them. Some people can't connect in, and that's where everyone's at a different place with this kind of work, right? Some people totally see it, and some people can't. I find that the ones that can't often will. Just takes work to get them to that place of self-awareness and insight. It's not something most of us are raised to do, is to be more emotionally aware of what's going on and to connect. We're not told that emotion is directly connected to our physical pain in our body, right?
That's right.
Took Tom how long to figure this out?
I'm still figuring it out.
I know. We're all still figuring it out. Well, it was really awesome. I mean, we got 10 people just watched us. We've had up to 15 or 20 people checking in. So that was really cool. So next week, we're going to do the same bat time, same bat channel. And we're going to have Lori, Melanie, Ramona, and someone else. Let me just check my list. Lorraine. And so it'll be awesome to see you guys. If anybody wants to check in with us a bit more, I think Margaret wanted to talk a bit more about this, then give us a message and let us know. Tom, you have anything else you want to tell your Facebook fans?
Is there on your page? Do you have the link like to our email address if you want to get a hold of us?
Yeah, you can say, or I could post it here too, but on the, well, they can email direct and it goes into the messenger. So if you guys have questions, it just comes right to us through the Facebook page or the YouTube page. And I'll forward that out to Tom. I was also saying that if you have that residential school ancestry, or you went to residential school, then you can access support from the Indian Residential School Survivors Society.
you don't have to have gone to residential school. You could be like second, third generation.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
Yeah. And scooped, like I've had 60 scoop family working with them, and day school. So, which is kind of all similar impact, right? Any other questions? I think everybody's pretty good. Crystal was just saying that the serotonin that we seek out substance or addiction. Yeah. Is there anybody else? Everybody's good. Christina says thank you. Hi, Christina. It was awesome to have you check in. And here we go. Ramona's checking in. Thank you for your great support and help. Many blessings. Thank you, Ramona. You do amazing work in your community. We know that too. You've been such a great support when we go up to the Taltan area. And Lorraine is out there saying thank you. Well, it was great to check in with everybody. If anybody has specific questions, you can email us, or you can give this, my number to be texted or called is 250-643-3441. Tom's got a phone number too, to text or call. If you didn't want to have questions posted here, we can definitely help you offline. What's your phone number, Tom?
604-785-3432.
Yeah, and you guys can always ask. There'll be other viewers. We always have lots of extra viewers on after we hang up too. So yeah, questions, you guys, any struggles, anybody you know struggling, reach out, listen in, just to advice is just to validate what they're going through instead of dismissing it. You don't want to dismiss anybody's pain right now. Help them explore it. And I know all of you people who follow us, you're all healers yourselves. So this information needs to spread out from you too. And thanks, everybody. You ready to say goodbye, Tom?
Goodbye, everybody. Stay safe. Don't run out of ketchup.
So don't, yeah. I heard there's a massive tomato shortage this year.
Uh-oh.
We no ketchup for you, Tom.
All right.
Okay, take care. Bye, guys.
All right.